Hey guys, Fireman here. Got a Barrows guide today. It was highly requested from a lot of people that I'd met at Barrows, as well as people on my friends list that had watched my recent video on the full Guthans I got out of 25 chests. However, right here in the video index, I've got the different categories that we're going to address through the video. You can pause the video and go ahead and read through those, or just keep watching and we'll go through them one step at a time. If I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video, read through everything. If there's parts that you don't need help with, feel free to skip to whatever part of the video you want to. Alright guys, here we've got method and routine. Now, when I say method, I'm talking about your combat style. You want to bring two different combat styles with you at least. It's highly recommended that you do so. The recommended combat styles, in my opinion, are magic and range. Now, if you don't have a high range level, you can use melee. However, I don't recommend melee if you're going for fast kills and multiple chests per trip. So with magic and range, magic you want to have at least level 50 magic. It's highly recommended that you at least have 50. At level 50, you can use Iban's Staff, which you get from completing the Underground Pass quest. And you can now get this staff upgraded so that it holds 2,500 charges. However, at level 50 magic, the Iban's Staff can hit up to 25. It's extremely overpowered for its level. However, the method that I use is magic and range. I have 76 range right now, and it's been working fine. The reason you want range or melee is for a rim, and if you choose so, you can kill Kirill with your combat switch. I use mage on Kirill just for the simple fact that it doesn't take any longer to kill him with magic than it would range or melee. It actually takes longer to kill him with range and melee, in my opinion, in my experience anyway. Now, for the beginners out there, you want to set a routine for yourself when you get to Barrows. And by routine, I mean have a set path that you follow, a set order in which you kill the brothers. Now, for example, my routine that I used way back in RuneScape 3, back before EOC, and even today in 2007 RuneScape, I go kill Darok first, then I kill a Rim, I move on to Kirill, after that I do Guthans, move on to Torag, and then I kill Varric. Now, obviously, one of these is going to be your tunnel. So, and for the beginners, again, what I mean by tunnel is when you get to that specific brother's crypt, they are going to be absent. It is going to tell you that you found a tunnel. Would you like to enter? If you have not killed the other 5 brothers, you need to leave and go kill the other 5. Otherwise, you're going to have to fight however many you have left down in the tunnel, and that is not what you want to do, especially just starting out. The reason you need to get set into a routine is so that you can focus on the prayer drain rate. You already know just from force of habit what prayer you need to use and how you're going to attempt to kill that brother, whether it be magic, range, melee, whatever. Alright guys, up on the screen here I've got a couple different inventory setups, and this is really self-explanatory. If you have a certain staff, for instance Iban's Staff with death runes, or fire runes for instance, that are needed to cast the spell, then you're going to need the spaces in your inventory for those runes. That's obvious. Now, the more spells you want to cast, if you want to take Entangle, or if you want to take Ancient Magics, which I'm not covering in this video, then you're obviously going to be eating up more inventory spaces. For starting out at Barrows, these are the inventories I would recommend. The first being for Iban's staff, and the second for being if you have 75 plus magic, because you can buy a Trident of the Seas, and the runes are actually held within the staff. So you get 2 extra inventory spaces using a Trident of the Seas versus an Iban's staff. However, until your Iban's staff is completely out of charges, I would stick with that. Alright guys, now we have a graphic here of some equipment selections that I've put together. Obviously, the Void is on the left. You know, your cheap welfare gear is on the right. For the welfare gear setup, obviously, you're going to want to replace items. If you have a better item than what is pictured, you're going to want to replace it with that item. For instance, if you had Infinity Robes instead of Mystic Robes, wear those. Don't downgrade to Mystic just because it's in the video. It's not going to help you. This is where you got to use some common sense. So, you're going to see that in all 4 pictures, no matter what combat style I'm wielding, I have a Sears ring on. The reason for this is because you're using magic more than you are any other combat style. It's not worth losing an inventory space to bring an Archer's ring or a Berserker ring or a Warrior ring. Even if it's imbued, it's not worth it. You want food and as many prayer potions because you want to maximize the amount of chests per hour, because that's going to maximize your loot per hour. Or your potential loot, I should say. Now, on the welfare gear side, I have a God Cape, or a God Cloak. On the Void setup side for magic, I obviously have the Fire Cape. This is completely optional. You can just use the Accumulator or an Attractor. That's perfectly fine. I just tend to bring those with me because who doesn't love wearing their Fire Cape, honestly? Anyway, so on the Void side, you obviously have a few gear selections that you can change up, such as the Unholy Book, or the Snakeskin Boots if you have Ranger Boots, or the Mystic Boots if you had Infinity Boots. Obviously swap those out. The bolts I recommend no matter what setup. If you're using a rune crossbow, Diamond E bolts are extremely effective. They're not that expensive, especially if you have an attractor or an accumulator. You're not going to lose very many of them. So don't worry about the cost from that. You might lose 2 or 3k worth of bolts per trip, and I get 3 to 6 chests a trip depending on how much I get hit by Varric. Alright guys, so what we have here is a 2015 map to Barrows. Now this is going to help you navigate from the Canifis Bank down to the Barrows Brothers Crypts. Now, as you can see, there is a long white path on the left. I don't care if you don't have any quests besides Priest and Peril or whatever other quests are required to access this part of RuneScape. Don't use that path. It's going to take you probably 5 to 7 minutes if you don't take stamina or energy potions to walk that length. It's not worth it. The red path, if you don't have any quests for the Morton quest line or anything like that completed, the red path is what you're going to want to take. Now you're going to run from the bank west following the red line. You're going to get to the gate. You're going to walk through the gate. You're going to run southeast slightly until you see a wall of seaweed. Once you get to that wall of seaweed, it doesn't look like you're going to get through it. However, you can proceed down to almost where the navigation point is on the map, and you'll see 1 block area that you can squeeze through. And if you just click on the other side of the seaweed wall, your NPC or character will find that gap, just in case you can't see it. However, the cyan or light blue path here is the In Search of Miracu quest. Once it's completed, you can go behind the Canifis bar and enter the trap door, take a tunnel to an exit where where the line reappears here in the swamp, and then you can follow it slightly southwest to the Swamp Bodie. Once on the Swamp Bodie, it is going to drop you off on the west side of the bridge just west of Barrows. Now, you're also going to notice a green path down in Morton. This is the minigame teleport It's where it's going to take you. Now, the quest line, I'm not sure which quest has to be completed, but you will have to complete one or both of them to access the minigame teleport. And you can only use it once every half hour. So, you're going to want to, if you take that method, the green line, you're going to want to teleport and then run to the east, and you're going to be at Barrows. Go across the bridge and all that. However, that is, I believe, I've never used one of the treasure trail reward Morton clue scrolls or scroll teleports, but I believe that is where it teleports you as well. And if that's the method that you want to take, that's fine. I don't take that method because I'll buy stamina pots and energy pots all day. I'm not paying 20,000 for a teleport. So anyway, the two last things we want to note on this graphic here is the purple dot. Now, years ago, there never was a spade near Barrows. However, there is one now. There's 2 spades in the little shack just north of Barrows. If you forget yours, which it's going to happen at some point, inevitably it's going to happen. And then after doing Barrows for a couple weeks, you're going to have like 50 spades in the bank because you keep picking one up down here. However, you can just pick one up there. You don't have to go the whole way back to the bank. Now, at the bottom here, I have given a brief description of each of the Barrows brothers, and the letter that is on the map corresponds with which brother is described on the right. You can pause the video and read through that if you like. Otherwise, we're going to move on, and I'm going to actually take you through the swamp here using the red path, because I think this is going to be the most used path by people. I've sped this up a bit, so just bear with me. We're just going to watch this here for a second, and it's really simple to get there using the swamp boaty, and it's a lot quicker than the white path. The white path is completely obsolete. Do not use it. Alright guys, so what we have here is a graphic that I have all 4 puzzles with the correct answer displayed on the screen right now. Once you've done Barrows 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 times, these are going to be so ingrained in your mind that you're going to have nightmares about these. So don't worry about memorizing them. Again, the picture will be on my Twitter if you need to look at it again or look it up. Just follow me over there and it'll be in the photos. Alright guys, so now we're going to look at a graphic of the tunnel, or the tunnel system rather. Now once you have killed your other 5 brothers and you need to go into the 6th brother's crypt and enter the tunnel. Now you're going to be spawned into one of the gray rooms. There's going to be one door that is able to be opened. You're going to follow that path, and any chance you get, I'll show you how to do this later in the video, but any chance you get close to that, being able to see the doors for the center room, move your camera around, glance at that door, right click on it, see if that's the one that you can open. If that's the door you can open, then you want to find out how you can get to that door. Which doors are going to allow you into that area? So what we have here is the gray rooms. One's going to contain your ladder, like we already established. They're also going to contain aggressive monsters. However, the orange passageways are the hallways around the rest of the crypt, or the rest of the tunnel. The blue corridors are going to be normal doors. These ones, some are going to be locked, some are going to be open. Just because they're open doesn't mean it's the correct path. It's going to be trial and error at first for you, but once you've done it a couple times, you're going to start to understand. It's extremely simple. Do not overwork yourself about it or anything like that. So the purple corridors that surround the chest room are puzzle doors, and these are the doors that you're going to need the before graphic to complete, or figure them out yourself. They're not hard to figure out. They're really simple. However, you're going to be being attacked by the aggressive monsters, so you're going to have to time it. Once the monster hits you, immediately click on the door and answer the puzzle. That's why it's so important to memorize the puzzle answers as fast as possible. Now, the red square rooms, your ladders aren't going to spawn in these rooms because they're right next to the chest. Another thing to note for you guys that are just beginning, your sixth brother, every time you open a door down in the tunnel, has a potential to spawn that last brother. So, especially if Darok was your tunnel, you're going to want to be prepared to drink a sip of your prayer potion and throw up melee prayer as soon as possible. Don't go down here if you got something else going on in the background or whatever that's distracting you. When you're down here, you need to have your full attention on what's going on. Moving on to understanding prayer drain, there's always going to be prayer drain or a prayer drain rate associated with Barrows. No matter what you do, it's going to be there. Going back to the gear setups, you want to maximize your offensive bonus. Don't worry about prayer bonus. Prayer bonus isn't going to help you. It's not going to conserve your prayer anymore. Go for the max offensive bonus that you can. That way you kill the brothers faster, minimizing your time spent in the crypts and in the tunnel. However, the second thing that you're going to want to remember is the rate of drain increases every brother that you kill. So say for instance, the normal rate is 8. You kill another brother, or you kill your first brother, the prayer drain rate is going to be 9. Kill your second brother, it's going to be 10. And this doesn't happen instantaneously, and you're going to realize that as you do Barrows more and more. However, don't let it sneak up on you, especially if you're killing, like, for instance, Daroks, or if you're out of food and you still have 2 or 3 prayer potions, drink the extra sip of prayer potion. The third thing is don't concern yourself with the increased prayer drain rate. It's not a problem until you make it a problem. There's a lot of things in life that aren't a problem until you make them a problem. So, just keep an eye on your prayer. When it gets low, when it gets within that 12 to 13 mark, if it drops to 1 or 2, drink a sip of your prayer potion. And that's the next thing. Only drink 1 dose of prayer potion as needed. You don't need to drink the whole prayer potion before you enter a crypt to kill a brother. I know people that do this, and I've taught them otherwise. However, that baffles me when somebody says that they do 1 chest a trip and they use 3 or 4 prayer potions. Only drink 1 sip at a time. 1 sip, if you have the recommended stats that I said earlier, the 75 range, 50 to 75 magic, you're only going to need 1 sip to kill a brother. So potentially 6 sips of a prayer potion is going to get you through the entire Barrows run. Then you can go back to the top and repeat the process. Now, for the beginners out there that are only going to have 50 magic or bare minimum range or melee stats, you might want to consider bringing a restore potion. And I don't mean a super restore. You could opt out of a couple prayer potions and replace them with super restores. However, that would be extremely expensive. This guide is also trying to be cost effective at doing Barrows runs. But the restore potion is there because when you're killing a Rim, you can have Protect from Magic on, but he still casts curse spells and feeble, whatever he wants to cast, as well as he attacks you with Fire Wave. If you're 50 magic or if you're 60 strength and he lowers your strength to 50, that's going to slow down your kill. You're going to eat up more prayer potions. It's not going to be worth your time. So if you're one of those lower levels, consider bringing a restore potion. The next thing I want to talk about is a death teleport. And I don't mean, oh, I'm about to die, tab out. That's obvious. That's why we said in the inventory, bring a 1-click teleport. However, what happens if you do die? We all know that the servers like to disconnect sometimes or whatever they want to do. They literally have a mind of their own these days sometimes. So if you do die, are you going to be the person that runs to the bank and then has to buy a teleport off of somebody to get even in the remote area of Barrows? And I understand that there's a 30-minute time limit, but what other people don't understand is that sometimes the entire world goes offline for 5-10 minutes at a time. I've been on a world a couple of weeks ago that went offline for 20 minutes. If this happens, then when you finally get back in to that world, you've got 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever to get your stuff back. Keep an extra teleport in your bank, whether you buy one Morton teleport for 20,000 and keep it in your bank just in case. Create a redundancy system. Don't be one of those people that dies and then has the chance to loot their stuff back but can't do so because they don't have a teleport. Alright guys, we're going to watch some actual footage of me doing some Barrows runs. I'm going to slow some of the clips down, point some things out. Other than that, just sit back and enjoy the footage and hopefully you learn something. Alright, so here we are right outside of Darok's crypt. We're going to go ahead and dig down and start fighting him. I have melee prayer on. If you pay attention to the prayer up in the right hand corner, it is draining slowly. When you first get to Barrows, your first couple crypts you should be able to get through without having to drink any prayer potions. And there you can see I'm using Eagle Eye on a rim. One thing to note, if you're using a Trident of the Seas, when you go to fight a rim and you switch to your crossbow, you're going to want to switch to Rapid instead of Accurate. It automatically defaults to Accurate since the Trident of the Seas only has 2 attack styles. As you can see, we're already on Torag. I've only drank 1 sip of my prayer potion. Had to give a guy a shark. Trying to be a nice guy. Here we are starting to kill Varric. Now, this one he can hit through your prayer. It's not usually too hard. Here I'm showing you that I switched to my highest defense gear before I went down into the crypt. Right up here, I'm on the side tunnel, and as you can see, like I was talking about earlier, I'm going to move my camera and right click on that door. That is not my door, so I move on. As you can see though, I do have OS Buddy Pro, so the little mini map up in the right hand corner is there. Barrows tunnels are mapped out for you if you use OS Buddy Pro. I'm not sponsored. I'd gladly take a sponsorship, but I'm not sponsored or anything. OS Buddy Pro does really help when you play in RuneScape though. And as you can see, like I mentioned earlier, I'm following my path back outside. I'm climbing up the ladder, go outside of the crypt to reset my kill a brother tick up in the left-hand corner. When I leave the crypt, I've got to dig down in a crypt to have it reset after I've looted a chest. We're already on Guthan here. Not too much to comment on. As I noted earlier, I do use magic on Kirill, and it works fine. Gets the job done pretty quick. There's Torag down. Here's Varric again. See how I waited? My prayer was at 7. It's still at 7. One thing to also note is if you're in the tunnels, if you kill something, if you kill the brother that you were fighting and you have prayer left over, don't worry about turning it off. Turn it to protect from melee, so it protects you from hits from the monsters. It's going to get drained anyway, you might as well use it. So, and as you can see there, I let my prayer drop. It's not the best thing to do. I thought I could kill him before, and there the monster attacked me while I was trying to solve the puzzle, so it gave me a different puzzle. You got to be careful with that. Sometimes you'll misclick, and then you'll have, If you misclick on the puzzle door, then it resets the entire tunnel system, and you have to re-find your doors. There we've got Darok killed. We've got a Rim fighting him now. As you can see, the magic does pretty well against Kirill, so... And there's Guthin. Again, just keep your eye. See, they're prayer drained. Just got to keep your eye on your prayer. If it gets within if your prayer gets down to 4 or 5, go ahead and drink a sip of your prayer pot if you don't think you're going to kill the brother within the next second or two. It's not a big deal. You'd rather drink a sip of your prayer potion than, die and have to come loot your stuff and ruin your Barrows run. Anyway, I've got a couple seconds left here, and I'm going to cut the audio. That way I can go to a live reaction for you guys right after we kill Varric here. And if you paid attention to the first two chests, they were chests 73 and 74. And I'll see you guys in just a minute. Alright guys, chest 75. Let's see if we can get something. No shit. Oh my f***ing god. Holy fuck. Oh my god. I got that on vid? Fuck yes. Holy shit. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. My Twitter name's up on the screen right now. That's going to be the easiest way to get a hold of me. Reply back to all my tweets. And in the comments section down below, leave a comment. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Share it with your friends, help somebody else out. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. And also, in the comments down below, let me know what you guys need a guide on next or what you would like to see next. Thanks. Bye.